Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for everyone joining for our first November meeting. We have an exciting agenda with Benny Curriculum Associates and others ready to present to us. Before we get to that, probably not so much for the people here, but for the people, whoever is at home listening or will be listening. School will be closed this Tuesday, the 11th, for Veterans Day. Thank you to all our veterans in our community across the country. I encourage all parents, please check the school calendar, either online or by the hard copy, as we have many performances, concerts, and shows over the next month that you don't want to miss. I do want to highlight one special event designed primarily for our elementary students, but open to everyone. It is SEPTA's Cookies and Canvas, which is occurring on Monday, November 17th at 6 p.m. I believe it's in the high school, and I strongly encourage you to register your child. As always, SEPTA will put together an amazing and enjoyable event, and their leadership always does a great job. Next Thursday, we have the staff recognition reception, where we honor all staff members reaching various 5-year milestones, 5, 10, 15, 20, etc. This year, among the honorees, without giving away the name, we have one staff member who has achieved a length of service that historians believe has been reached only once before in the history of our school district. It will be a rewarding night. Finally, as we always like to recognize contributors to our district, I am pleased that this board finally, after many years, probably decades, has a reason to celebrate Love Your Lawyer Day, which is tomorrow, November 7th. In anticipation of that, we have a small gift for Mr. Goodstad, who has been extremely helpful over the past year. He is actually blushing. No district does this. This is what makes us so damn special. Has been extremely helpful and a pleasure to work with over the past year, particularly as we have hired and onboarded a new superintendent and dealt with some interesting issues. Thank you for your work and the efforts of your colleagues, Ms. Vega and Mr. Venator. So hold on one second. No district funds went towards this present. No, we could. I don't know. Some of it, it is designed, we know that other district board meetings, not ours, are extremely boring and tedious. So that is meant to help you get through some other district board meetings where they are boring and tedious.
Now I understand the comment.
What?
Now I understand the comment.
That's my part. And finally, we'd like to congratulate all the winning candidates in this past Tuesday's elections. You know that we were behind you all the way, and we look forward to all the additional funds you promised us. And we will certainly need it as we cope with the impending New York City exodus that will inundate Long Island with all those students. Dr. Sundberg, you don't have to shake your head at that.
Tonight's getting really interesting.
With that, we have a short agenda this evening, but it contains one of the most important and hopefully most informative presentations of the year. Understanding how and why our district is so successful is key to continue to build on that success. Identifying areas for improvement for both our students and faculty helps us accomplish that. Data, gathering, analyzing, and acting on it is a key part of that process. It's a top area of focus of this board and our new superintendent. Tonight's preliminary presentation is the first of what we expect will be many over the coming months and years to address this topic. With that, I turn it over to our superintendent.
By the way, that's not this Love Your Business picture.
What? What is it?
Love Your Business.
This one?
So for those of you at home, we have our Assistant Superintendent of Business asking when it's Love Your Business official. So there you go.
Can we sit over there?
Yeah. So you're welcome to sit over here. This is, so we have two presentations this evening. One is a very short one by me. There was over the last 2 weeks, I've gone to three different conferences, and I wanted to share some of the things that that I was privy to at those conferences. And so one of the conference things, we spoke about negotiations and the superintendent's role and insights, how the superintendent can effectively participate in and support the negotiation process. That was at the New York School Boards Association. Other things such as keys to success in algebra, a focus on foundational mathematical skills, the basic arithmetic, fractions, decimals, percentages, proportions. These are the things that we need to focus on, and I think actually Jericho's doing a fantastic job with that, and we'll see that in a few minutes. This one was a very interesting one I wanted to go to, executive sessions. If you don't know, our boards of education have executive sessions mostly before. In some districts they do it after, and some of you have both before and after. But the do's and don'ts, and I was fortunate enough to go with one of our board members, Dr. Balatandra, who sat with us at that presentation. And we learned a lot of things about pending litigation. So what's permissible to speak about in executive session? Pending litigation, collective negotiations, and personnel matters related to employment or discipline. That's literacy as a predictor of graduation success was another seminar I went to, research highlighting the strong connection between early literacy proficiency and long-term academic achievement. And this one was really interesting for me, that we talk about prior knowledge and what we want our students to know and what we expect them to know. And if you haven't heard of the effect of prior knowledge on comprehension by Wright and Leslie in 1988, so there was a study that was done when they asked young children about birds. And the students did very well, obviously, in a wealthy district. And then when they asked the same question, but they created a fictitious animal, the scores were exactly the same between the students who come from different socioeconomic backgrounds. So it was really an in-depth conversation with superintendents talking about how that's really important to understand that prior knowledge prior to students getting to a school. And we also talked about the future of the workforce and artificial intelligence. We have students who are graduating college with the intent of going into coding, and that's pretty much an obsolete degree. Now coding with AI can take a few minutes, where our students were planning on going into that, and it's a whole change of the future of what our workforce will look like and how our schools adapting that and what are we doing in our educational models. So that's basically where I've been over the last 4 or 5 days. A couple weeks ago, doing little seminars, and I really appreciate the opportunity to learn more. It gives me an opportunity to mingle with other superintendents and see what they're doing, and we take best practices and I try to bring them back to the school district here and share with my colleagues. So the next part, I'm really happy to say that I've worked with the Curriculum Associates over the last couple weeks. We've talked about data and where I'd like to go in the future, and tonight is the first night of bringing some of that data to light to all of the people out there and watching. And as you'll see, there's a lot of information. And as we go through the year, we want to break down that information because the little chunks of information help us guide where we want to go in the future. So I'm happy to say that I congratulate the Curriculum Associates working with me. It was fantastic, and I learned a lot. And I'm looking forward to more of this type of presentations, a little shorter, but more of these type of presentations as we go further. I would ask also that, again, this is our first time doing it like this. If you have any questions, you can forward those questions to your Curriculum Associates or Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction. She can help you. And you may have questions. Again, feel free to ask via that route. It's much easier for us, but you'll see more and more things that will help guide us as we go through. So thank you very much. Dr. Sherman.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, tonight's presentation offers a 3-year look at how our students have performed across the district and compared to other districts around the region, not necessarily the state. From our grades 3 through 8 state assessments to Regents and AP exams. You'll hear directly from our amazing Curriculum Associates, each of whom will also share highlights from their areas. Their presentations reflect not only strong results, but the thoughtful work that happens every day in our classrooms. As a district, we view this data as a way to celebrate our students and teachers, to reflect on what's working well, and to continue planning for even greater success ahead. It is definitely a true team effort, and one that speaks to the strength of our entire Jericho community. So we will start with ELA, Dr. Saltzman.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you. Oh, good. Yeah, come on in. Especially for the folks at home and those of you that are still here, Just a reference point for the 3 different types of tests you're going to see. First, my colleagues and I are going to share New York State assessment data, and that's on a 4-point scale, level 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to see Regents data, that's on a 100-point scale, and then you'll see advanced placement data, and that's on a 5-point scale. All right. So here you see grades 3 through 8 data on the New York State English Language Arts Assessment. And again, this is 2023, 2024, and then last year, 2025. And you see our percentage both of proficiency and mastery, and that's then in comparison to the region on the right-hand side. So you have Jericho in green, and then you have the region percentage. And on average, 3rd through 8th grade, we're about 20% higher than the state. I'm sorry, the region.
20 points higher.
20% proficiency and mastery, not points. These are represent percentages, overall percentages. Cool. So again, in Regents, similar kind of trend. Our passing rate here, I wanted to show passing and mastery just because I think there is a difference. Mastery is 85 and above. So here you see again about 10%, a little bit more on the passing, but you have again over 20% on mastery. And I think that speaks a lot when you compare it to the region. And then finally, for advanced placement data, again, you see advanced placement seminar, it's 10th grade, advanced placement language and composition, 11th grade, and advanced placement literature and composition. And you do see a spread not only of 3, 4s, and 5s, so 3 and above is the first column, but we also wanted to break out 4 and 5s as well as simply mastery. And again, when you look at the percentage against New York State, it's about 20% on average. Again, literature is a little bit lower. That's a really tough test against seniors. But I think it does speak for a great amount of achievement in regards to all levels. As far as highlights, I'm very proud of some of our co-curricular programs, especially with our award-winning Jericho and Pegasus. And so you see a couple of things that have just been going on since the beginning of the summer to now. And I want to just reiterate what Dr. Kravitz said about the importance of literacy and reading, and we have a little kindergartner there. And I just think it's so important how we embed literacy every day, ongoing and constant. Thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to introduce my colleague, Helene Kriegstein, to talk about mathematics.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dan. So similar to ELA, this slide shows the New York State math assessment data from grades 3 through 8. I'd like to point out that the passing level, which is considered a level 3 or 4, anything above a level 2 is passing, we do have, we are well above the region in most cases, about 20%. You might notice in grade 8, which is that last line, that N value, the number of students, are low compared to the grade level, so I just wanted to explain that. The students in 8th grade who are taking Algebra 1, they don't take the New York State Math 8 exam, they take the Algebra 1 exam, so that's why those numbers don't reflect the grade level. But I do think it's noteworthy that we are, it looks like about 35% higher than the region in 8th grade, in grades 3, from levels 3 and 4 compared to the region, which is 53%. So we're pleased with that. This slide shows the region's data. These are numbers from the June exam. I do have a notation at the bottom just to show when the next generation exams came in. So June 2024 was the first Algebra 1 Next Gen, and this past June 2025 was the new geometry exam, and this year will be the new Algebra 2 exam. So we're not exactly comparing these same exact exams, so I did want to point that out. And again, we're comparing Jericho passing with the region, and we're comparing Jericho mastery with the region, and I really think these numbers speak for themselves. You know, almost every student passes the Math Regents exam, but we're especially proud of their mastery results. So mastery, as Dan said, that's a scaled score of 85 or higher, and you can see that approximately there's a 40% gap, give or take, between our students and the region. This slide shows the AP data. What I would like to mention about our AP exams in Jericho. We have open enrollment, and I really think this speaks to how open enrollment and success and excellence really coexist. Our AP participation is robust, our performance trends are continuing upward, and every course does show measurable growth. If you look at the percentage of students scoring 3 or higher from year 1, which in this case is 2023, to year 3 in 2025.
Can you just leave that for oversight?
Sure. You know, I could speak to the individual.
No, I just wanted to look for,
Results.
thank you, I'm good.
I'd like to just mention a few math initiatives that we have between this year and last year, because I do think that they're complementary to the test results. You know, we're impressed with our students' scores, and we should be, but equally impressed, and sometimes more so, with the things that maybe are not measured on standardized tests. So we've been having a book study on Peter Liljedahl's work on the thinking classroom. It's really creating a space for students to engage in perseverance and problem solving, collaboration, and critical thinking. They're standing up, they're in random groups, they're around the room. I've been waiting all night to show this feature. Okay, this is even a department meeting. We even do it during department meetings where we engage in simulations that happen with the students. So we're really proud of that work. The other thing that is new this year, on the right-hand side, mathematics research. Over the years, we've doubled our participation with students' research projects at the Long Island Math Fair. And we instituted 2 new core research classes, one in the middle school, one in the high school, specifically for mathematics. So in the picture at the top, those are middle school students learning how to write a thesis statement. And in the picture at the bottom right, those peer forums are peer review, and that's our high school research class. And in addition, we also have a math research club in the middle school. And I really think that together these initiatives deepen mathematical understanding, they encourage creativity, and as I said, you know, while we are impressed with how our students do on standardized tests, I really think that this speaks volumes, so I wanted to share that with you. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Jana Ostroff, for the science portion of the presentation.
Thank you. So as you can see, the results for science on standardized tests are of the same trend that my colleagues have presented before. So I highlighted in green, just for the overall, where we are 20% above the region, either in proficiency and or mastery. I also combined, I know that they're very different, but I combined our elementary and intermediate as well as our region scores, just to kind of save space and show the overwhelming trend, which is that we are very much outperforming our regional colleagues in terms of proficiency as well as in terms of mastery. You can see asterisks. So all the asterisks represent where a test has so significantly changed in terms of rigor, as well as what we're asking students to do, and you can see that even in the relationship to our region. And so you can see that grade 5, grade 8 had new exams over the past 2 years. The life science biology and the earth and space science were new exams this year. And I know everyone in this room is very well aware that we had new exams with a higher level of challenge and a higher level of rigor. You can see in grade 5 and 8 that there has been improvement, right? And you see an increase in proficiency as well as in mastery. And in grade 8, it is worth noting, similar to the algebra, that there are a lot of students that took the earth and space science exam. And so we have a very low number of students in grade 8 that are taking that assessment. But you see, we do still have a very high level of proficiency on that assessment as well.
I'm sorry, just, I know we're not asking questions, but do these exams go back like 5 and 10 years, or really 3 years of data is all that's relevant?
So the physical setting, earth science, the living environment, physical setting, chemistry, physical setting, physics, you can see they're very similar in results, right? So you can see the similarity year to year. They do go back, but you'll see similar sort of trends, right? So 99% of our students reach proficiency, 82%, for example, in physics reach mastery. So this year we decided to have our students take those same assessments and not the new assessments. So we assume that we will have similar high results. As they're taking a more rigorous assessment, I think the test itself is a little more challenging, but what we are able to do this year is to look at sample assessments. So we took, for example, in life science biology now, we've had 2 sample assessments, both in June and in August, and we'll have another in January. And what we're doing with that is, one, doing a lot of item analysis. So our teachers have been pouring over item analysis, wrong answer summary analysis in relation to our regional colleagues as well. And we've also used AI really to leverage, we use those models of questions, and we are feeding and kind of creating agents to create sample assessments that look a lot like the assessments that we've been given. So the larger the number of exemplars we have of those assessments, the better our agents are at recreating them. And we've been doing a lot of work with our regional colleagues. There were 7 of us that attended a regional assessment creation day where we've all leveraged AI and kind of shared our products together. So we're trying to get the best of what Long Island has in terms of better preparing our students for the new assessments that do require a very high level of transfer of information and a high level of literacy as well, both graphical literacy as well as linguistic literacy, academic vocabulary, as well as content-specific vocabulary. And all of those things are things that teachers are poring over and working very hard to make sure that our students, you hear the screaming in the background, that's research. Each one of those screams is another Regeneron project being submitted. What? They have 4 more minutes.
Wow.
Maybe I'll finish before they do. Our AP results are similar in terms of us outperforming the state. In this case, we're having a state comparison. We have a high level of participation in these elective AP exams and a high level of success in students earning 3s, 4s, and 5s. And in some of these cases, a 4 or a 5 is associated with credit in college, and a lot of colleges are accepting credits in those areas. We're also very proud of our qualitative data and expansion of program. This year, we're offering elementary robotics, grades 3, 4, and 5. And we've doubled our science research exploration. So now instead of only running 1 each quarter, we are now able to serve 48 students and run 2 different programs. So we are starting quarter 2 and doing the science of sound using a ukulele where students actually build, create, design, and then learn how to play the ukulele, and cool chemistry, and both will end in symposiums for families to come and share in the learning with their students. Right now, we have 33 students that are tonight by 8 o'clock, very shortly, going to apply in Regeneron. And this is a significant piece of data from last year. If you know something about Regeneron, you know that this is actually the culmination of years of work and preparation on our kids' part. So this is not just now. So these seniors are now applying for the Regeneron Talent Search, but they're using their years and years of research and work to do so. And so specifically last year really prepared them for what they're doing today and what they're cheering for. And it's an immense accomplishment. And to have 33 students at this level that have ISEF in their back pocket, that have performed at LICEF, NICEF, and JCEF, it's tremendous. And it doesn't even represent, right now, 130 students that are in our research program. And there's a huge diversity of opportunity within it. So students are doing the presidential AI competition. Other students are doing a Grow Green competition. And there's so many diverse ways that our students, while they're working on these highly competitive projects, are also doing diverse things that are just exciting and making them even more well-rounded thinkers to contribute to the community. I'm having my shirt signed because I'm confident that there are Nobel laureates in that room, and I'm going to have their signature on my shirt when they grow up. We also have a lot of co-curricular opportunities and some that have even been added. So this year we added, like our physics club is expanding. We're going to be adding competitions to our medical minds club. And we are doing an AI competition, an AI Olympiad this year as well. And so our students have many opportunities both inside and outside the classroom to learn and experience science and technology. And I'm going to hand it over to hear more about fine and performing arts.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to AP Music Theory. In the Music Theory course, you'll see at the top, I explain it as a multi-level course because this is like a one-room schoolhouse, 11th period. It's the best classroom to visit because you get to see differentiation of instruction. And students are either taking Music Theory 1 and 2, Music Theory College level, Advanced Harmony and Composition, or in this case, AP Music Theory. Our current combined enrollment of this class is 17, and we're anticipating 10 students to be taking the exam in the spring. Down the left-hand side column, you'll see the years 23, 24, 25. So unlike the slides before, we're going to be looking at our percentages going from left to right for our overall score for music theory, the oral and the non-oral. So these are the two sub-scores that we have in this exam. So in 23, we had 9 students take the exam, and you can see the percentages going across for the 3s, 4s, and 5s in the overall, the oral, and the sub-score for non-oral. This exam evaluates students' understanding of musical structure and composition through multiple choice and free response questions. Each year, we have maintained a 0.6% margin above the New York State and global percentages in the overall grade and both sub-scores. Similarly, in AP Art, we also have multi-level courses. So we have Drawing and Painting, which is co-sat with Creative Concepts, which is a college-level course. And we have our multi-level course for AP Photo with SJU, which is our college-level course. And our combined enrollments in those are 27 and 16. And we are anticipating 21 AP participants in 2026, spring up. Down the left-hand side column, you can see our 23, 24, and 25 scores. And then you'll see the number of combined students. So in the first column, you'll see, and I'm going to go to 2025 because it's the most recent. We had 36 combined students taking our 2D, 3D, and drawing. So out of those 36, 29 students took the 2D. And 2D, it combines photo, it's all 2D art, where in 3D it is more sculptural. But this exam is a year-end portfolio exam. So students do not sit for an exam for this. They hand all of their work in and it is assessed. So you can see here that after their submission, they demonstrate inquiry-driven art making through practice, experimentation, revision of process, and design skills. In 2025, we outscored the New York and global averages just shy of a full point in drawing and 3D. This is our favorite slide, our highlights, and I wanted to make sure that it showed lots of color in our art, music, and theater programs. It also shows a great deal of school spirit. You can see on the left-hand side middle, we have our Jayhawks celebrating with the middle school jazz band, and on the right side in the middle, we have our pep band playing at the football games. We bring spirit everywhere we go. And in the top, you'll see our cultural arts presentations through BOCES Arts and Education. We're able to send students on many trips, including Broadway Imagination, and we send many students to the Tilla Center to see performances and to be a part of them. Our kindergarten students are hands-on, making projects with lots of glitter, which we love. And we started our very own Art Venture Campus here, which we're going into another annual one this spring, in which our teachers allow the parents to sit and make artwork with their children. It's a wonderful day. Our theater programs are growing, and we are building new connections with that. You can see those featured on the bottoms. I should try this out. Wait a second. Whoa, There we go. There's our middle school play over there. Thank you, Ms. Kriegstein, for the toys tonight. And over here is when we featured our high school musical on the main stage for the first time, and we plan on doing that again with this year's musical. And I'd also like to point out here that our music programs and trips are going near and far. Our art exhibits are taking place right now because we have our art exhibit at the Jericho Public Library going on the month of November. And our interdisciplinary instruction is happening every single day in all of our classrooms. Oh, and that brings us to my colleague, Dr. Sundberg.
Are those winners going to get announced during this? I like the cheer. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the pattern that was set in ELA and math and science and start by taking a look at Regents exam scores. As you can see, we have nearly universal passing on both the Global History and Geography Regents exam and the U.S. History and Government Regents exam. Very high concentrations of mastery, minimal fluctuation over time. This provides evidence that we have a strong vertical alignment among social studies classes, not just 9 through 12, but really 7 through 12. When we introduced the new framework about 10 years ago, all of our teachers took apart the new Regents exams, and we start prepping in middle school for that. I didn't try and save space. I'm presenting a lot of AP exams separately. It makes it easier for me to tell the story. I'm going to start with AP Government and Politics. It helps me set some context. All right, so you can see we have 3 years, 2023 through 2025, and we have scores at 3 or above, 4 or above, or at 5, and we're comparing our 3 and above with New York State's 3 and above. A couple of things I want to just get used to looking at here. One is the number of students. We have very large numbers of students taking this exam compared to other schools. So Ms. Kriegstein mentioned open enrollment. We're very proud of that. We do very well considering that. We also have the number of students over the last 3 years going up considerably from 125 to 156. So on the one hand, I feel that we're doing very well in the number of students at 3 or above in each of these years. But if we take a look at the gaps between 3 and above for Jericho and for the state, we have this little quirk at the end of last year where we actually fell behind the state. So a couple of things go through my mind when I look at this, and this is the kind of work that we do as curriculum associates. So part of me wants to say, well, it's just more students are challenging themselves. That's going to be part of the answer. Part of me has to say, as a colleague mentioned earlier, this is mostly seniors. And we have conversations to have about seniors in the spring. But the other thing I need to tell you is the data we're showing you right now are just the surface of what we have access to. Right? So we can drill down to how our individual students are doing on different sections of the exam, how they're doing on different conceptual understandings in the exam. So we're undertaking the work now with all of these tests of looking for gaps, not just between ourselves and the state overall, that's somewhat useful, but gaps between ourselves and the state on individual items on these tests. So that's the work that we do throughout the year, right? Very happy to report these AP United States History exam scores. We have a similar story, growing enrollment. Again, the number of students, not only who choose to take this test, but one of the things I'm really proud of over the last 10 years, the number of students who stay in this course until the end of the year has gone up. So we have a lower drop rate and growing enrollment, and at the same time, the number of students 3 or above over the last 3 years is growing considerably, even relative to the state, which is the benchmark that we're using to calibrate our progress. AP World History and Modern, super proud. Take a look at these numbers. very considerable majority of 10th grade students in Jericho High School take advanced placement world history, right? Other schools don't have that. This is our open enrollment program. It's the quality of our teachers, it's the quality of the department. All right, so we're looking at skills 7 through 11 here, but I'm very happy at the quality of that course level team here. Economics, advanced placement economics, complicated story. Mostly seniors. There's 2 tests in a full year course. So the test teaches students to prepare for the microeconomics and the macroeconomics exam. To complicate things further, there were 2 versions of the test that our students were given in 2024, so that affects our data, but just take a look at numbers. We're going from about 159, about 166, to 171 students taking this test. Mr. Perlman asked before, we have data more than 3 years. I mean, traditionally, we've always given 3-year data, but having been here a long time, I'd love to show you 10 years ago why this is such a success story. We've put together a crackerjack team of AP economics teachers. Starting out, I don't want to mention names, with the hiring of Ms. Izzo, who was actually a business teacher, and we started giving her AP economics classes. Got some nasty letters from the state because she wasn't certified to do that. People indulged just for a little while. We got her certified in social studies, so now she's legal. And we brought in a partner. So very dynamic team, easier to tell the story if you look at the macro. Steady number of students, combination of juniors and seniors, mostly seniors. Very strong results. And finally this year we passed the state average, the state percentage. Thank you. AP Psychology, they dared me to put their photo. I indulged them. I'm very happy with this team. They work super closely together. They've gotten training. We've upped their scores in AP Psychology over the last 3 years. And look at the number of students taking this course and staying in it, from 122 to 140. Strong results for passing and gap, including keeping seniors engaged. AP Research, relatively new. This is part of the AP capstone. So many of the students who've taken AP Seminar, which is an English course, take this elective AP Research class. We can't do that much better, but we do look at gaps. So 100% over the last 2 years, virtually 100% since we started this course, pass this very rigorous research class. So this is the only AP class that we have in social studies that's small, but we're super proud. All right, co-curricular programs. I could talk about debate. Talk about FBLA. We have over 200 students in Future Business Leaders of America. We have 150 in our debate program. That's data. Obviously, all these other ones. I'm going to privilege one just to talk a little bit how we can talk about data in a different way than reductive standardized tests. Right. So for 10 years now, and I'm going to go through 6 or 7, starting in the middle school, we've required every 7th grade student, every 8th grade student to do a very substantial research project according to the standards of National History Day. And I want to take a look at the growth of our success in this program. So students who go from our Jericho History here to Long Island History Day at Hofstra, to New York State History Day, upstate New York, and finally to National History Day in June in Maryland. 2019, we had 8 Long Island History Day finalists, so people came in the top 3 in Long Island History Day, 5 from middle school, 3 from the high school. Just looking at the overall, 8, 11, 12, 15, 17, 13, don't be dismayed. New York State History, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10. And finally, National History Day. And at National History Day, right, National History Day says about 500,000 students start this process every year. Right, starting from the regional competition to the state level. Every state sends their top 2 in each of 18 categories. About 3,000 students make it to nationals, and 5% of those wind up medaling, right? So what I'm very happy about, and what I'm very grateful to you, Central Office and the board for in supporting this program, is the number of students, because it's all resting on the bed of that middle school program, but the high school program is starting to grow and get robust. And we've got advisors in the high school helping students do this work more independently. And we've now achieved, if you look at New York State, 10 students medaling at New York State, 5 from the middle school, 5 from the high school, second place in the nation in one of the categories from the high school, an additional top 10 from the high school. There's also a middle school top 10, I'm sorry I got cut off here. But we're finally reaching parity between the two schools. And that's a long effort with a lot of teachers in both buildings and resources from you all, so thank you. Dr. Lionel Chen.
Thanks everyone, I'm Lionel, and I'm going to share with you about our languages program here at Jericho Schools. So first off, in alphabetical order, we have our results from AP Chinese. The College Board sets this exam at the intermediate mid-level, and those are our percentages of students succeeding on this exam. We also have our students participating in the National Chinese Talent Contest. We had one winner last year, and also from the poster contest we had 4, and also the speech contest, which students competed through from middle school all the way to the college level. We also had a winner in that as well. So our next exam is the AP French. These are our results again, our students. Many of them do very well on this exam. The College Board sets the Romance languages at the intermediate high level, and aside from that, we also have our students in the spring volunteer to sign up to participate in the Grand Concours, which is the National French Exam Contest. We had 36 winners of gold, silver, and bronze. And AP Italian, again, another Romance language at the intermediate high level. The College Board has created this exam, and our students have succeeded throughout the years, and also they participate in the National Italian Exam Contest across Jericho Middle School and Jericho High School. We have 15 winners placing in gold, silver, and bronze. And finally, our largest enrollment language is Spanish, and these are our results for AP Spanish. Again, many students showing proficiency on the not only on the AP exam, but we also have them participating in the National Spanish Exam Contest. They volunteered to participate, and we had 62 winners. Over 82,000 students took this exam across the country and beyond, and we had 62 winners of gold, silver, and bronze. And some highlights about our language program outside of the national contest that we participated in. We have International Night coming up in March. Look forward to having you join us at that time. And we also have a lot of cultural activities after school for our students. You'll see on the right-hand side, the top right, we have our Italian Honor Society Club hosts a pizza making, a tiramisu making classes. You'll see at the bottom right there. You can decorate your own tiramisu. You'll see also we also have great field trips. Yesterday, for instance, the 8th grade Spanish classes went to have a meal at a Spanish restaurant, so authentic food from Spain. And we also are a district that has a FLES program where we have early language learning. So that's becoming more and more rare, but we have that. That's one of our strengths. So we thank our district administration and the Board of Education for that. And as far as what we've been working on as a department, we've been aligning with the new New York State Learning Standards for languages that came out about a couple of years ago. So, thank you.
Two quick questions for you. What's our requirement for graduation to take a language through what grade?
Sure. So it's not about which grade, it's how many years you've done it. So it's 3 years. So many of our students typically meet the requirement, I want to say, for the Advanced Regents Diploma by the end of 10th grade. But most of our students do stay on.
And that's what I was gonna, if you add up all the APs, how many seniors were taking a language last year who've continued all through their senior year?
How many seniors? So to answer your question, related to your first question, how many students actually continue beyond the requirement? That's actually, it fluctuates anywhere from around 80%. So 80% of our students, even after they meet the requirement, they actually still go on to take our AP courses. They take the 11th grade class and then the AP class
So
after.
80% of them take it for their full high school career.
80% continue on after level 3. It trickles off a little bit there from 11th grade into 12th grade. So I want to say maybe around 70-75% stay on between after 11 to 12.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Not related to this, but is it true that if you're learning French and Italian, you get to go to Italy and France, but Chinese, you go to Chinatown?
So that's not true. So yeah, I can share more about that now with you. So all of our language classes have field trips that are local. We, for instance, our Chinese classes have gone to cultural centers. They've also done, like you see there at the bottom, when they're learning the food unit, they've gone to restaurants. And the food unit is not just about experiencing food from another culture and what that is, but it's also about cultural etiquette, what you're supposed to do at a meal, in the culture of the language that you're studying. So that's another big emphasis that we place on when we do these field trips. So,
Just got to, Dr. Chan,
Yeah.
with all the languages used to go, like, there used to be a trip to China for the language class. There used to be Italy, there used to be France. I don't know if they ever went to Spain or not. I don't
so we actually tried to kick up an international trip 2 years ago.
Yeah, but all that killed during COVID. And
Yeah.
now it sort of never came. So
So-
before COVID, there were a whole bunch of international trips. I don't know where it stands now.
So thereafter, we did try 2 years ago to relaunch that with one of our languages, and there was very little to no participation. Like, some students said they were interested, and then I think when they went home and shared the information, and then we had our parent meeting, there was very little to no interest.
So right now, there's no big international trips for any languages.
We don't have, exactly.
All right, thank you. So luckily, we have Chinese. We still got some.
And I'd like to reintroduce Dr. Sherman.
Alrighty, so as you've seen tonight, our students continue to excel, not only in their assessment results, but in their growth, perseverance, and curiosity as learners. These outcomes are a direct reflection of the tireless work of our teachers, the leadership of our curriculum associates and building administrators, the support of our families, and certainly the spirit of our community. We use this data to help us improve, to refine our instruction, deepen our curriculum, and ensure that every student has the opportunity to reach their highest potential. As we look ahead to 26-27, our focus remains clear: to nurture well-rounded, thoughtful, and capable young people, the very essence of our district goals and values. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you to our amazing curriculum associates.
We can resume the meeting back there. And I also want to thank Dr. Sherman, Dr. Sundberg, Dr. Chen, Ruth Bredenbach, Mr. Salzman, Dr. Salzman, Helene Kriegstein, and Dr. Ostroff for all the hard work, and I appreciate them putting this together, and we're on our way. So I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you very much to everyone. I don't know if any faculty, staff have anything to say, but we'll open it for the public. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, approach the microphone, tell us your name, if you're representative of a group, your affiliation. If you'd like your statement to be included in our board minutes, you must hand a written copy of remarks to a district clerk of manual before leaving tonight. As always, public discussion on matters relating to staff and students during which their reputation, privacy, or right to due process or those of others could in some way be violated is prohibited. If anyone wants to speak, there's the microphone. Basically, everyone here has already spoken today. So we will now close that. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. We have no schedules. We look forward to seeing many of you, anyone, at our next meeting on Thursday, November 20th. Please note, that meeting will be at the Jeffrey Ratner Robert Seaman Elementary School. As all business on our agenda for tonight's meeting is complete, as is there a very heavy testing schedule in high school tomorrow. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Mrs. Varno, second, thank you. Thank you to Mrs. Citron. We'll go with her, sorry. All in favor? Everyone have a lovely evening. Thank you again to all of our curriculum associates.